I'm going to present the sponsor and thank them. Sherwin William, Maria is there. Thank you, Sherwin. GSA Machinery, Mathieu represent them here today. He's the Dan Darcy. Well, Dan's not there. So Michelle, thank you, Michelle, for being here. Norwood, I think, is Mr. Greg Lepp. Thank you for the sponsorship. And is there another sponsor in the room? Who? Norwood and Westwood is the same? Okay. I didn't know that. Hey, man, you're big, eh? So, okay. Okay. So, thank you. Thank you, guys. Without your help, we wouldn't be able to do that. Thank you. So, Mr. Flipper.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So today we're going to look at what's new in the National Building Code compared to the 2015, the 2020 to the 2015. Um, we're doing that work, but Steve has an app there. He just showed me that compares both code, and it highlights what's the difference. It's what you call that, tracks. So that's a great application. Yeah. Yeah, I know. We won't, Terry, we won't work anymore.
Yeah. Nice. Right on. I'd love to get a hold of that.
Yeah,
So if you can
replaced by an app. It's coming.
send me the link for it. I'd like to see it.
Uh, okay, that presentation was prepared by Al Yogalis. Thank you, Al. And we adapted it for Atlantic, and I'm presenting today. And Terry is there to watch my back. So it's a lot of details. Thank you to be there. So can you flip? I'm going to the flipper, and okay, what we're going to do today, we're going to see code harmonization in Canada. It's across Canada, and we'll see what the federal wants every provinces and territory to do. There is some glass and glazing changes in safety glass and all this. We're going to look at it too. Window fall prevention changes also. There is some changes. It's getting more stringent, but that's okay. It's to protect the kids, and we'll look at it. Fenestration energy performance, also there. They're coming with what we call tiers performance, and we'll see what it means. Combustible window frame, there was a big job done by, I would say, the Quebec manufacturers, and big change there. Encapsulated mass timber construction is now in the building code. We can build multi-story, not more than 12, but all wood. Okay, and it's and accessibility changes. There is some accessibility modification in the code too. Okay, so that it's going to be an overview, but I think we catched a lot of those changes that we see. So code harmonization, go ahead, Mr. Flipper. Uh, because the free trade agreement made in 2017, they want made harmonization national priority. Codes from everywhere in Canada, territory and provinces. So there's not a lot of difference between all those codes. Okay, there will be because there's specific places, specific climate, specific danger or whatever, but as less as possible. Uh, the 2020 code is now adopted, and the federal would like it to harmonization be, well started within 24 months. I'm not sure that you'll see that afterward. Ensure provinces and territories that have meaningful input, like I said, if there's differences, they want them to have the voice in the National Building Code. Uh, And now it's free available on the web. I don't know if you've seen that. And I tried it last week. I downloaded a couple of codes. It's available free. And they think they're going to make benefit of, it's a government projection, so a lot of money. So that's what they think, from 750 to a billion. Where are we now? In 2020, they want to harmonize a lot, but all provinces adopted different time. So 2020 may be harmonized in Quebec in 2030 because they just adopted the 2015. So that's where it goes everywhere in Canada. Federal would like all the code to be harmonized in 2030, and all provinces except Ontario, BC, and Quebec are expected to adopt a tiered energy approach. We'll see that later on for energy, how they want to work that out. I'm sure they're going to go that way too. At the point, BC already have the step energy code, so it's already like that. I have no information about Quebec. I tried to have it before coming here, but wasn't ready. Wasn't able to get it. Can you flip it? Thank you. Okay, glass change. There is changes. You can, go again, please. Okay. So there is changes for glass in the section 3 and section 9 of the code. So that's what we're going to see. What they want is, now they adopted the CGSB 12.12717. It was not in the code before. And the main reason for that is try to avoid cutting injury for human people when they have to go out or open the door, open the window, whatever. Previous one was 1990, and it harmonized well, again, in the harmonization concept with the ANSE Z97 2015. And it includes now organic coated and plexiglass or plastic. New classification and label are required. Okay, so now it's in the code. You can see in the table at the beginning of the code that they refer to the CGSB 12.1 2017. But the spandrel glass, I don't know if you use a lot of these here around the table, spandrel for between floors, and not that much, but it stayed on the old version. So it's still the CGSB 12.9, but 91, so still there. So 131, I won't read all those numbers. Document reference in the NBC 2020. Transparent door and panel also, section 3. Safety glazing and assembly occupancy. This is new. We are in an assembly occupancy right now. So that would be, you'll see a lot of places that were not covered before. Tubs and showers. And type of glass and protection of glass in sentence 9614. And glass in guards also have some changes. So again, safety glazing now, not how did we safety glass before? Now it's called safety glazing. Okay. Safety, now recognize the NBC, that's what we said. And yeah, safety glazing instead of safety glass. So we can see it there. Go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Why was the word unfortunately in red
For the wire glass.
Because it's still, we're going to see that a lot. Wired glass is still in the code as a good safety glass. And we all know the problem we have with that. Yeah, but yeah. but you'll see it's possible in certain application to still use it. Yeah. So, and in the different companies, they think it should be get out of there, except for fire. It is dangerous. Yeah. Yeah, and you cut yourself a lot. Other people were cut. That's why it has to be removed. But okay, so where's wire glass still permitted? Uh, glass and guard shall be safety glazing or wired glass in section B. So still permitted. The only place it's not permitted in the code is bath and showers and assembly occupancies like here. We wouldn't be able to put some safety glazing in the door, for example. Assembly, like I said, it's where people meet, like political, travel, religious, social, and even restaurant. How many restaurants you go downtown Moncton, downtown Montreal, they don't have safety glazing? Okay, that will have to be done starting from 2020. Yeah, we can see here that safety glazing in assembly occupancies is not required when the glass start at 15, 25 millimeters from the finished floor, or it's not wider more than 75 millimeters. So for that, and safety glass, it's 15, 25, and we presume it's about the average person eye level. It's 60 inches, so 5 feet. That's, it depends. We say eye level, yeah. So over that 15, 25, all glass is permitted, any glass you can put there. So we can see the drawing. And also, if you are 915 millimeters or greater to have access to window, then, you know, for example, sometimes you got like mezzanine and you got the windows there and you don't have access to the window. So if you do, you fall down. So, and yeah, if you don't have access, then it doesn't need to have the safety glazing. Everywhere people meet. Well, I would say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everywhere where they say people can meet, a lot of people together. That's, yeah, that's important change. Okay, thank you for flipping. A bit fast, but that's okay. Okay, window fall prevention changes. That's also in part 3 and part 9. It has some changes. Go ahead. Main difference between 3 and 9 is in part 3, the opening height, you know, you need to have a mechanism to stop the opening on the window over a meter and 70 millimeter. So yeah. And in the residential, it's 900 millimeters, so almost 1 meter. So that's a big difference. Okay. So it has been raised in part 9, and in part 3 stays 1070, but it was increased from 450 to 900 in residential. The question we have now, people talking about it in committees, is it high enough for kids? Because if we're talking 900 millimeters, it's not that much. So a kid with a chair can fall down. So, you know, push on it. So I don't know about Alberta. Can you talk about Terry or?
Yeah, you bet. So Alberta, has recently released what they call a stand data, which is an amendment to their code that allows for the use of F2090 WOCD devices for fall protection and egress. So currently, Alberta allows these devices as well as Quebec. Again, Quebec being under the 2015 code, they made this change back when that adoption happened. So currently, Alberta and Quebec allow these devices. It will also be of great interest for the people in the room to know that there is some activity in New Brunswick that is looking at fall protection and these devices. We are reaching out to them, giving them information about the devices and the position that Fenestration Canada took along with WDMA and FGIA and are supporting their possible adoption or amendment to allow these devices. And as soon as we get some clarity on that happening, if it happens, we'll make sure that we let everybody know.
To allow them or to not require?
The question is to allowed or not required, Terry? This is a big, there's always a confusion between egress and
Right. So currently, a releasable restrictor, like an F2090 opening control device, is not compliant for fall protection
no.
other than Alberta and Quebec, where they are allowed. Right. So that's what we are continuing to propose to provinces across the
We'll
country.
see what the code says now. It's. Can
Yeah.
you go ahead and flip it, please?
Yep, you bet. Yep.
Whoop! I see your face.
Oh, what happened?
It's okay. Okay.
Whoop. Okay.
Okay. The mechanism was authorized in the code now. It's a mechanism that can only be released with the use of tools or special knowledge. So, yeah. So, like I saw in the room where we were at the 4-point, they have a stopper for the guillotine, for a double hung. And I looked at it, and we would have to take something to pull out the track cover, if you want. So that would be okay. But because I looked at it, okay, I can pull it, but because I know what to do. But people who doesn't know what to do won't be able to do it. So that would be okay. And the clearance is 100 millimeters. It was 380 before, so not big. Or so they don't need to be protected if it's over 1,070 millimeters, or if outside, and it's not and, it's or outside, you only have 1,800 millimeters before the ground. Okay? That doesn't need any protection.
And we're looking at the 2020 code.
Yep.
Which really hasn't been adopted anywhere around Canada.
Not yet, no. But that's what's coming.
So do you think
This January,
to Terry or Steve, that the work that's being done in New Brunswick, are they hoping that that would be done in time for when the code gets released? And the other question would be, is there similar work happening in Nova Scotia at this time?
Nova Scotia's in a different, they're actually still looking for a new building code administrator or building code chief building official. There's a gentleman there who's on, so they're probably looking for that. I would think that in New Brunswick would probably, Carmen would be have that decision by before the adoption code.
Is it likely that New Brunswick is going to follow what Alberta did?
I can't speculate on what Trevor would be doing, but in most cases I think, I mean, it's common sense.
okay.
This one for May 1st?
This 2020 code. 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 2020 code There you go. Yeah. My question is, and I don't know, you said that the 2090 is not accepted in the code, but it doesn't state that in the code. It says
It has to be removed by a tool.
that could be inadvertently opened by a child. That's what it says in the appendix on it. So how do you define what a spring load button is, and how do you define what can be inadvertently operated by a child?
But like I said, the 2020 code doesn't allow that. It has to be removed with a special tool. It's confusing, and that's the conclusion of Al is we need clarification on. Yeah, it contradicts each other. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
In EDI, I remember saying that.
But there's nowhere in the code that it actually says that the 2090 is not allowed.
Is it? No, but
they
don't.
yeah,
you're right.
They don't say that.
Yeah, they don't say that, but they say we need a tool, and we don't need a tool to do that. So that's confusing. That's Al's point. He says we gotta have better information about that.
That would be, and you're right. It's not clear that they don't allow it.
And if you look at have the windows 1,000 or 36 inches above the floor,
Mm-hmm.
if anybody sells to anybody with an 8-foot wall with a 10-inch header, you've got a 40-inch model. You can't get anything bigger, right? And then if you sell to modular mini home manufacturers that are in New Brunswick, but they sell to Nova Scotia and Community High, they got two different designs.
Yeah.
Also challenging for the manufacturers as well, right, to design products as the code is changing. We're trying to adjust and invest in tooling,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, is it, it's allowed in Quebec, it's not allowed there, so it's
That's why they want to harmonize, but still.
They have to prioritize chemical-based fire or not all.
Yeah, it is confusing. Hey?
It's got any two things.
Since I look at codes and I give presentation, still the same, and that's 2004 since I started. Still confusing the difference between what we do for egress and what we do for fall prevention.
So very heavy acts with every window.
Yeah. or like a.
Is the tool that you're talking about defined in the code?
No.
Is it a pen?
That's your finger.
Special.
Does it say special?
Yeah.
Yes, special tools are not.
Yeah.
Define special.
Yeah. Again.
I think the people that wrote that code were special.
Yeah, special people. But we went fast at the beginning, but they say taking out the crank here, the handle is not allowed, and it's clear in the code. Yeah, it's clear in the code. You cannot do that. So again, in section 3, here are a drawing explaining everything. If you're more than 1,070, you need to limit it to 100 millimeters, even if it's 1,800 outside. Can you flip it? Say, use of a tool, yeah. Again, same thing here, part 3, 1070, 1,800. Here that would be okay. Release can be used with a tool or special knowledge. Sorry, not a special tool. A tool or special knowledge. Is a pen a tool? I don't know, but I don't think so. But, when I see a tool, I see a screwdriver. But do we have this one, Terry? Is it the next one? The Note 9881? Again, that's in part 9. It's about the same except the height, 900 millimeters.
Okay, there's the new sentences.
Okay, go back to that. The last one.
Oh, go back, Mr.
The mechanism that can only be released by use of a tool or special knowledge, right?
The control. And I would say that the 2900 is a special knowledge. But again, you know what to pull on, you know what to do. But again, for egress, because when I started talking about that one day, I remember, and the person in front of me told me, yeah, you're an expert or you're in the window and door business, but is your 85 a year mother would be able to go out with that 2900? I said, maybe not. So that's confusing again. Again, the same thing, 900 millimeter for the floor or 1800 outside and less, you don't need to protect it. So you need a guard. Is a guard, I don't know, bars or something? What can be done? I was thinking about that, Sometimes we had some bars to put in the basement window. We can't anymore because of egress. But would adding a bars that would be bringing it to over 1070 or 900 be okay? Don't know. So yeah, railing or something. Yeah, that would maybe, but give something to think about. Maybe we can supply that. I don't know. So
I think balcony business and sell a balcony.
every window, yeah.
So if you fall out, you fall on the balcony.
Yeah, you drop that. You drop that to the balcony, guys.
Yeah.
Do your things. Okay. On, please. Okay, here you see in the part 9, again, the window is under 900. Even if you got 1800 outside, we need to limit it with a limiter. Go ahead. Again, it doesn't need to be protected under 170 in the part 9 and 900 in part 3 and 900 in part 9. So that would be perfect. No need for a stopper. So
In our business right now, it just seems everybody wants these full length windows going right to the floor.
But now we're getting more, I've never seen so much of it within either weight or within.
yeah, I know what we're talking before. The mechanism with a special tool, and it's not clear because they don't say 2090 is not accepted, but they say we need a tool. So, like I said, it's confusing, and a draft letter explaining all that was sent to the code people early this year. So, I don't think so, not yet. So, and again, the question, like I said before, should we bring it up to 1220 for the kids in the house? Because again, 900 is not that high. Yeah, but 1200 with a chair would be tough to get there. But again, imagine all the new home design with window go to the floor and yeah, they open. What's going to happen there? So yeah, it is something we have to work on. Yeah.
Well, the biggest headache's going to be in single-family homes, right? So, it's a headache. Because if you, somebody in a single-family home, they don't want to do it. They want to know all what. So, that's why we're kind of pushing them. So it just gets a headache for them. And that's why for this area, there's problems looking at our end. Because the inspectors don't realize what type of wave is coming at them. Right?
So but on a job, would you stop the job if you see a WOCD?
Well, until it's, until we get it right.
Yeah.
The game is that, how do you balance it with the window with egress and allowing it to open up?
Yeah, and if you got,
Yeah.
Completely opposite. Show you that.
Well, you have to change it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we can't use this is inherently possible.
Whole reason behind flood protection started in Minnesota, called Lagos, and they did research. It's usually an accidental fall in a child that's 18 months old. The kid's 4 or 5 and falls. It's probably suicide.
yeah.
So the WOCD, you need 2 points to base it. This is completely opposite. You can have a special tool to do the restricted. So what's going to happen? Yeah, exactly. What's going to happen in the residential market, once the building is started, guess what's going to happen to those restricted?
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're on restrictors now. They're in the courts.
So it really doesn't do the code. It's useless.
And I was thinking about a WOCD with a tool to open, for example. But then where do you put the tool? At each window on a wire or something, or one in a house, and then you're burning and say, where's the tool? You know, like, so it's complicated. It's not. I was thinking about you guys. What can you do? You know,
It
like,
doesn't have to be a tool, it can be special knowledge, right? Right. So
yeah.
special knowledge, maybe push the button on the right side or something, right?
When I was in Alberta, there was a window that was approved by the state that most of the thought it would catch on, and it was an egress release window. And it had a red lever, like a red wire that you pulled, and the window actually,
Why not? Okay.
the whole window.
And it can be positioned like over a certain height, like 1200, so a kid cannot push on it. Yeah.
You had to like.
See, we're having a solution maybe.
The conflict is in the bedroom, especially in the bedroom, you want to get out, but, in one case, in the other case, you don't want to get out.
Yeah.
So it's.
Well, it's kind of work, right?
Yeah. So that's a question on the table by the company. And we go again, Terry, can you flip? That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, if I have a fixed one that I'm not really,
No, it doesn't open.
it doesn't, that's right. So if it's currently 18 inches or below.
But you cannot have a fixed window in a bedroom.
I understand. So it's 18 inches, below 18 inches. So it's at 14 inches, Steve. Fixed window. Does the code not say I need tempered glass in that? Below 18 inches? Right, that's a variant. So now, is it below 36 inches? This code is adopted?
So where in the code is actually the national building code? Is it actually, what's that?
It doesn't say.
Yeah.
Well, it says plus, 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 so I myself use the rule of thumb of 18 plus 2.
Yeah, and when I use that rule, I don't actually use the rule as it's stated in the national building code. I go to the international building code, and I use it because it defines like that glass has to be 9 square feet.
Plus,
Right, yeah. There's 5 conditions that it has to go. That's what
So you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
The rule of thumb is 18 inches and below is tempered glass.
Yeah.
So now is the rule of thumb 36 inches and below tempered glass?
If it is 5, I think we're going to look at it after.
Well, we
but
saw that on the safety
Yeah.
glass, it said
500 millimeters or wider needs 50 glass. If it can be mistaken with a door. Yeah. Yeah. Can you go back a couple of slides, please, Terry? Safety glazing, when they talk about what can
They were
be.
changing the rule from 450 to, 900 or something?
Right there, 2436, that's a.
Yeah.
There was another one there, that.
I was talking about, we're looking for the one, here it is.
We're going from 450.
Glass sidelights greater than 500 millimeter, knee safety
Yeah,
glass.
so it's before that though. we were talking.
Yeah, that's side lights.
Okay. Before that, please, Terry. Before.
It was the one that were referenced that it was changing from 450 as the minimum. For the height above 450.
Okay, that was the fall prevention.
No, that wasn't fall prevention. It was talking about, it was when we were talking about safety glazing. This is wire glass.
Yeah. Can you go back? Just start to the beginning, from the beginning, Terry. Okay. Okay, go ahead. One. Other one. Flip again. Easy laminated glass, wire glass. Go ahead. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. Is that the one you're talking about? Number 2? No? Can you flip again, Terry? Another one? Another one? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's an assembly occupancy.
That's about 60 inches.
There's still another one.
5 foot.
Yeah, this is less right.
But
So for example, here, our unit would have been
Yes.
can you flip it? Yeah. That's, yeah.
We just.
See, it's
Maybe it's the fall prevention. Go ahead.
Didn't do residential. But I think it's the same.
Oh, here.
There it is. There it is.
Unprotected window opening. Raised from 550 so to 900.
For an unprotected window opening, so no guardrail. It's not protected, so.
Yeah.
Right now, we always look at 450 as the.
Yeah.
So that's now 900.
That's in part-time, so that's for residential. Small residential.
Yeah, but is that talking with safety glazing or is that talking
Opening.
So.
So what it says here is part 9. Before was 450 millimeters from the floor. Now they raise it to 900. The sill, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That are between 18 and 36 that aren't covered.
Oh, no, but that's a whole different,
Yeah.
kettle of fish.
Yeah, that's talking about openings. Tempered glasses would be under, would be glazing protection.
That hasn't changed?
I don't think so. The glazing protection is different.
So again, the discussion, Terry, if you can hear, is about the fact that, like in a bedroom, you got a fixed window, and is there a distance from the floor that you have to have safety glazing in it?
So,
guard.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we're talking now about glass in guards rather than operable windows. Is that the question?
Yeah. Say it's a fixed window.
Right. So there is language when you look at glass and guards that says if that glass is below 900 millimeters from the floor and 600 millimeters to the grade from the floor level. So it's different than what this says. That glass needs to meet guard load. Now, we had a discussion here last week with some of the folks at BC Building Safety Standards, as well as some glass architects trying to understand what this language means, because when you get into glass in guards in a dwelling unit, it talks about at stairs, ramps, and landings. But in the beginning of that section, it talks about stairs, ramps, landings, raised walkways, mezzanines, galleries, etc. So we're trying to understand where that requirement applies in a dwelling unit. Is it only ramps, stairs, and landings, or is it essentially everywhere? So we're trying to get some clarity on that, because it varies depending on who you talk to. Building officials will say one thing, an architect says something else. So there's some real confusion about it. So we're trying to get some clarity on it. Today, my understanding when we're talking about the National Building Code is that glass in guards that are below 900 millimeters and 600 millimeters to the ground from the floor level must meet the impact loads for guard glazing anywhere in a dwelling unit. That's how that language, that's how I interpret it, but it's very unclear. So we're trying to get some clarity on it. I know talking to other people across the country, their interpretation and what they're being asked to comply with is anywhere in that dwelling unit below 900 millimeters, 600 millimeters to the ground from the floor level needs to be guard glazing. So we're working on trying to get some clarity on that. But today, for the most part, that's the interpretation that I'm seeing and hearing.
Are you talking to any
Hopefully
law
that
firms?
helps a bit.
Are you talking what? Yeah, is it a law firm that's going to clarify that, or?
Well, one of the groups that we're talking with is the AIBC, Architects in BC, and EGBC, the engineers, because oftentimes we get into multi-unit buildings that have this glazing either in the common areas or inside the dwelling units, and those guys are often the guys that are applying that code language as part of the specs of the project. I do have an outreach to the Building Officials Association in BC to get their interpretation, as well as this group that we've started talking with here in BC. So, yeah, clarity and interpretation really at this point needs to come from two places, in my opinion, from the building officials and the jurisdictions that are going to be enforcing this, and the architects and engineers that are going to be applying it in specifications in multi-unit larger buildings. So two places basically we're trying to get some clarity from.
Vince asked a question before. When we said we send a letter to clarify about the ODC, Vince says, did we have an answer yet? And if not, how long does it take to have an answer?
So there's a few things going on. Fenestration Canada, along with WDMA and FGIA, drafted a letter supporting the allowance of F2090 WOCD devices for fall protection. We sent that to all of the code developers across the country in each province. I didn't get responses from everybody. I did get a few. British Columbia Building Safety Standards said that they are not planning to make an amendment to support that at this time. They are not prepared to go against what the NBC says because it is a safety issue, and of course, applying to children, which is always a challenge for somebody to go against a safety clause in the code that would be protecting children. As I mentioned, Alberta did support us. The Building Safety Council in Alberta took this on and supported our position and worked with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, which is the building code developers in Alberta. They have, like I said, created a stand data amendment to their code to allow these. There is some positive conversation going on in New Brunswick that is looking at this. Again, we've reached out to them again, provided documentation, information on WOCDs, and resupplied our letter supporting these devices. They're looking at it again, and I mean, I can't speak to what they're going to do, but it certainly sounds positive. And if we can get their support for these devices, I think it would be an easy case to approach all the other Atlantic provinces, to get on board with that. So we didn't get responses from everybody. Continue to follow up with them. We have we have submitted a code change request to the National Building Code Development Committees. Unfortunately, it would be for NBC 2025, but currently there are over 2,000 code change requests in the queue. We're pushing it, but there's no guarantee that it's going to get addressed. And reality is it probably won't get addressed for 2025 because there's so much ahead of it, for lack of a better way of putting it. But we continue to push for this change wherever we can. So that's what's going on.
To energy
Yep.
performance. Tu le rapetisses-tu? So, Vince? So, you got your answer, right? Okay. So, there's a new subsection, 936.7, and about the energy code in Canada. And since 2010, they're coming with a tier approach. So we will have 5 tiers. Actually, tier 1 is what we get now since 2010. So there's no change. So 4 tiers level are higher than that, and 2 to 4 are defined using performance metric that require whole building energy modeling. So for new construction, a builder would have to have an energy modeling of the future house. And that's include the HVAC, the windows, insulation, the roofing, and all this. So it has to be modeling, but we'll see that they have also a point system that you can, instead of modeling, that costs a lot of money, get to where they want to get. So the point base, go ahead. For now, only single prescriptive, that's tough for me. Prescriptive tier. Okay. Okay, I'm getting there. So one of the big changes now, they change the requirement to match the American or inch pound U value. So you got like the U value 1.84 instead of 1.80 to match the 0.32 in inch pound. So that's a change. Okay. The current level of energy performance that has not changed 2010 is tier 1. So it would be what we call the base code. That would be from that energy efficiency that we would compare a new construction to. Okay, so there's 2, 3, 4. Actually, did they adopt to tier 2 or not yet, Terry?
Tier 2 is 10 points on the points level.
But the builder have to build as per tier 2 or can still build tier 1?
No, they can build to tier 1 base code. Some jurisdictions may be requiring tier 2, but it'll vary by jurisdiction depending on who's adopting what level.
And Al did a great job comparing if a builder has to insulate more the house or put another HVAC system more performant or whatever. We compare to windows, and you'll see that window now is a good solution for the builder. and a lot less expensive than doing anything else in the house to get to tier 2. Okay, we'll see that. So BC already used the step code levels, and they realize too that window is a change that less expensive and makes a lot of difference. And it depends again, like Terry says, the building inspector in each area, the jurisdiction will maybe apply or not tier 1, tier 2. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, actually, I just want to jump in on the step code thing because it may be of interest as this kind of approach might get adopted across the country. So in BC currently, all jurisdictions need to be on step 3 as a minimum. But what we're seeing is some jurisdictions are saying, okay, if you are using electric fueled heat and hot water, for example, you can use step 3. But if you use natural gas heat or natural gas hot water or cooking appliances, then you may be required to build to step 4, which would mean higher performance windows, more insulation, thicker walls, etc. So it's a really interesting scenario that we're seeing here in some jurisdictions where, depending on this heating source that you're using, you may be required to go to a higher step, which is what it is in BC, or a tier in other regions of the country. I expect we're going to see that kind of approach in other jurisdictions as they push to get buildings off of fossil fuels. So just an interesting scenario that's happening here in BC that you may see spread across the country.
Yep. Peux-tu le réduire, s'il vous plaît? On voit plus. Okay. So just to compare the different tier, how much economy you have to do from 1 to 5. And you see that for a house over 1,300 square feet or 300 meter, tier 2, you have to have 5% more energy efficiency in the house, 10%, 20, 40. And if you're talking a smaller house, then it's less stringent. So it starts at tier 3 to go to 5% energy efficiency. We'll flip that one. Go ahead. So it's based on a 10 points. So starting from the base code, if you got 10 points more efficiency, material, insulation, windows, then if you get to 10 points, you're at tier 2. I'm talking here for the builder. The builder wants to go on tier 2. If the jurisdiction says we want tier 2 now, he has to, I would say, increase the saving of energy based on points. So he doesn't have to go back on modeling. That costs a lot of money. And we'll see what happened when we do that. So just flip it. Okay. Let's say Halifax, Montreal, Fredericton, Moncton, St. John. We're in zone 6. So to get to those, if you are, the example here is, if your insulation is 2.97, the outside wall, then you don't need to go anywhere. But if you want to increase to tier 2, you got to increase your insulation. So go ahead again, flip. So 1.22 is 21 in Imperial. I say that because we use more that one. That means your Energy Star window would help the builder a lot. And you see how much. Can you flip it again? See zone 6 where we are, we need 4.6. If you got Energy Star window, look at your insulation in the wall, you're going to be 369. That's not even R20. But with window, you get the 10 points. So how much does it cost if you want to do 2x6 wall from a 2x4 or whatever, a 2x4 wall, 2x6, increase the insulation, put foam outside, put better HVAC system, just change the window. You just almost get there. Okay? So it's a point because at one time I remember people were saying, our people Fenestration Canada people, manufacturers say, builder will never buy a triple window. That's not true anymore. So that the way that they do the energy performance in the code now will help us. Because we're used to Energy Star. We're already there, 0.21. So we got 4.6 point out of 10 if you're using a window that are performing as Energy Star. 5.5 in zone 7. Can you flip? Hello, Terry. Okay. So, see, at 3.69, what's 3.69? It's about R20. Is that, can someone do 3.69 by 5.678? Because we're used to talking inch pound. I am a older guy.
R20.9.
20?
R20.9, yeah.
20.9. So that's not a lot. That's a 6-inch wall. So a wall, 6-inch wall with the fuel and the airspace and maybe a good sheeting outside or whatever. You just add the windows, triple or Energy Star, and you're tier 2. So the contractor doesn't have to do modeling again, doesn't have to change a lot of system in the house, just the windows, and he's in. So if I had salesmen, I will teach them that. Selling to builders. Can you go ahead? See zone 6, zone 7 again. See the difference in cost is right there. Can you flip again? So yeah, it's not a lot if you go with Energy Star windows. For higher performing windows, because of that, that's what BC sees now. It's less expensive than adding any other thing. They will use triple now, and before it was nobody would use triple. It depends how much point it gives you.
Well, yes, no.
You know, and maybe you won't get there. Because I was talking walls, because they say wall above the ground. So going from R20 on the wall to R30, that's in there also. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. And everything costs more because the window has to be 9.25 and maybe more than that. So, yeah. So the 10 points to get the tier 2, NBC 2020 tier 2, current in Ontario. Ontario now is pushing to tier 3. And yeah, this is future base code. Tier 5 would be net zero house. Okay, so that's where everybody's aiming to. But again, window will have a big, I don't remember about when he did that, but Gilbert Riopel at UL did a study, a simulation, changing insulation in the wall instead of changing windows. The impact is a lot less. You double your wall, you don't have the impact that you do changing your window. So that's something we have to remember and work with. So, yeah, go ahead. So it's going to increase percentage 25%, 50%, 60%. You know, but again, with the point system, you avoid the energy modeling for the whole house. Go ahead. Any question on that? I know it's, but it's coming.
I know the guys that build in
Knowledge, Andy Oding and those guys, they did a paper on this year talking about, you know, it's a no-brainer to be, you know, to sell triple glazing as opposed to adding insulation. And I mean, it was, I don't know, it scared me in a way. It's almost like, okay, so all of a sudden I mean, we're gonna be like those guys up in Ontario a few years ago. We'll be in our plant on Saturday morning making triple glazing again. So, because it really, I mean, as soon as this gets adopted, but I think we're still almost 5 years out.
Even, I remember when Al presented that, there was a question, when do you think the other tiers will be adopted? And because all the codes, like I said, Quebec just adopted 2015. He's going to do 2020 when? 27, 28? So by the time we get there, it's said maybe 30, 35. So we'll see that. But we can get prepared and prepare the mindset of our builders. So, combustible windows. Okay. Go ahead. That's part 3. That's the end of restriction for combustible window in the new code. Okay. Quebec, like, I remember I was on the committee, they said, why is PVC not, only aluminum was for combustible? And they did test, and it appears that with the PVC, the thing is that the glass is falling down. But with the PVC, it wasn't falling down anyway. So it convinced the people that combustible window now are out of the code for that, except for part 9, you'll see for floor-to-ceiling window, wall window we call, or curtain wall windows. Go ahead. That's the story. Go ahead. So it was removed in the 2020. Not combustible window, walls, or curtain. These one are not are still in there. Okay, but for windows, there's no more restriction. They're permitted combustible, but there's another line that's going to add at the bottom. Go ahead. Should not apply combustible window, but they have to be separate. Can you go ahead again? They are vertically non-contiguous between stories. There was a question by someone in the presentation of Al saying, is 1 inch not contiguous? Come on. I mean, the space of the floor, the height of the floor at least should be non-combustible or not continuous. So that would make the difference. So it changed a lot of things for buildings. Go ahead. Yeah. This one was built. See the difference between the window? They're not contiguous, and that's PVC windows. Go ahead. Any question there? That's a big improvement for that. Because at one time only aluminum out in those buildings. So go ahead. Okay. Do you have those kind of buildings here? Encapsulated mass timber construction. Do you start? But that would be one in here. Yeah. It has to be encapsulated, so surrounded with something like gyps or whatever. But if you can prove, and the timber guys will, that a certain size will take time, will still support what they have to support till a certain time, then you'd be okay. So the thickness of it or the species of it or whatever can be exposed like here. Okay? That's the main thing. But in those buildings, you cannot have combustible windows still. This section went out after, before the combustible window change. So maybe one day it's going to be possible, but right now, if you have a building like that, like those windows shouldn't be there. Yeah. The PVC. That was before.
Isn't that But isn't the code restriction only applying to multi-stories?
Yeah, multi-stories. Go ahead. That's in part 3. You cannot go over 12 stories if you build. It's more and more popular in Quebec because we had a lot of wood, and they saw that with fire, the steel would, bend or melt or whatever faster than wood in certain situation. So we go ahead, Terry. That's a building in Montreal. Again. So, but removal restriction for combustible windows, like I said, are still, you cannot use combustible windows in those type of buildings. Go ahead.
So JF, I reached out to some of the people that participated in that original activity to change that. And they have told me that at this time, they don't have anything in to have that change for encapsulated mass timber buildings for 2025 NBC. So maybe 2030. But it could probably, you could probably pose a good argument and an alternative solution by referencing that combustibility change and trying to apply it to this type of a building. I mean, the logic would seem to be there. So, but yeah, currently that change was not made in the encapsulated mass timber section of the code.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Okay, go ahead. Accessibility changes. Section 3, there is changing there. The clear opening of access to exit doors, and you'll see, and entrances. Go ahead. You need to have 850 millimeter clearance when your door is open. Okay? If it opens more than 90 degree with the 35 3/4 slab, you'll be okay. If it opens 90 degrees, you won't. It's going to be about 840. I measured three. Yeah. But if it opens more, you're going to get it. But lots of time, like just the hotel room, you cannot open. There's always something in behind the washroom or whatever, and it won't open, and you won't get the 850. I got one at home that's get there, but I would say it's a cheap one, so the weather stripping are really not efficient, so it's not thick on the side, and it clears 850 just on the nose. So maybe we will have to change it. It's in part 3, so multi dwelling. Is it something, guys, you're selling? If you do, you should look at your system with a 35 3/4 slab. Does it open? Does the opening goes to 850 or not? I would tell you to check that. And if not, maybe some modification on the frame, the weather stripping and all this. Because I don't think slack people, maybe you can help. It's going to do a 36 3/4 slab. Is it something in your plan? Okay. For that. Okay. So,
One door in the suite, right?
yeah. So, except for service entrances and entrances to suite described in clause, all pedestrian entrance to a barrier-free story or a building. So that's new also. Look at the difference between two. Before you need to have a ramp, outdoor sidewalk level or a ramp. Now you have to have free access everywhere. Okay? So that's a new change in the code. Again, it's the builder, but go ahead. That's it.
You have a door, 36-inch door, and you open it up, and it's 150
850. If you got 840, it doesn't fit.
847, because
Because right now it's 800.
yeah.
So
Depends on, you could say door, depends on if you have to go to the next door. Is that what it states, the next door on those?
what the
Those are only most.
clear entrance when doors open.
Here has a 36-inch wide door, that's going to open. Unless you got 150-degree swing on your south. So if you're in swing, you're on the outswing, you might get away with it. Because
Yeah.
you're not on the- There's no way, on the inswing, it's got to be 150 degrees.
You're gonna, especially on a wider jam, you're gonna get inside the jam.
Yeah.
so it opens all the way.
Yeah, because you got extension inside, so you won't be able to open. That's one of my case at home. I got extension and it won't open more than maybe 100, 110, but
And you can buy a 38-inch wide steel slab. So you're doing 42.
yeah, that's big.
Don't say something about the
What was the code section?
Yeah, what was that?
Can you go back? Just see the code section that it says 3. It's in part 3 for multiple dwelling. I didn't know if I had to put it in, but I'm sure I said some people must sell to these guys, so it's not residential, but it's 382, Steve. 382, 3821, 3822. 3821 through 3822. It's fun to have a guy that do the inspection in the room. It helps.
Oh, it's 881, right?
3, is that 8? No, it's 3821.
2-1.
21.
You can't see it.
No, it's tough to see. Application merge all entrance accessible to the general public.
Oh, that's in the barrier free, right?
Yeah.
So it's in-
You want to hear about the door? Can you go back one for the door, please, Terry? Yeah, that's 33113 for the door.
Yeah, because the other one is a barrier free path.
Yeah. Terry, you got to get for you, man, the application that Steve has. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I want to see that. Needs to send me that link.
Okay, system room with doors are open, located within public doors.
Does anybody know why the 850, why was it go from 800 to 850? Is there
Maybe, I presume, because of people in Winchell were thinking about maybe. Do you know where it's coming from, Terry, or?
I couldn't hear the question.
Hey?
the question?
The question was, where is it coming from, the 800 to 850? Is that for wheelchair? Is that?
Yeah, it's coming from the accessibility, adaptability groups that are really pushing for buildings to become more, accessible, obviously, right? So there's a lot of activity in those groups that are looking for changes to things like doors and door sills, right? So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, door sill also. So no barrier meaning no sill,
13 millimeters.
or yeah.
So do we all just go back to the door guys if there's anybody that makes doors?
This is
Can we make
commercial.
can we make, what's that?
This is all gonna be commercial stuff, cause it's
It,
public.
it is commercial, but we're all doing,
Well, it's gonna be-
we're all doing buildings in multi-units
Yeah.
now. and-
It's residential, but multi-units. It's still residential.
It says public access.
Yeah.
Those would all be like, like all
This
fire,
should be your main entry.
right?
No, there's.
It's a public.
Is that only
public
the,
corridor.
Terry, is that only the main entry door or every dwelling should?
Anywhere that is an accessible, pathway, right? So hallways into dwelling units in multi-unit buildings, entrances, of course. Yeah, so it's,
3/8, isn't it?
yeah, I think so.
Accessibility is 3/8?
Yes.
Or is it adaptability? Can't remember, because there's two different ones, and it's
Now.
confusing to keep those straight.
You know, since,
Accessibility is 3/8, and what you're referring there is 3/3, so that's not in the barrier free zone.
Yeah, I can't hear the comments from the floor, JF, so.
Says that the accessibility is in 3/8, and we're referred to 3/3. But we say 3/3, 3/4, 3/3, 3/4, 11. So maybe it's not accessibility, it's something else.
In reading it, it's access to an exit, so it's like once you exit your unit, it's access to an exit out of the building. Like, that's how that's written.
yeah, and it's, so this is going out into a corridor that goes into the
Yes, and
building.
that's just,
As opposed to, but they're not really saying that if you had direct access inside.
Yes, I got it.
No, it doesn't say that.
It can be outside your dwelling, going in the
I
hallway.
don't think it's the door going into your unit, it's the door from like the corridors and from like mass gatherings into the buildings and stuff. It's
Going
like for public access.
through the corridor or from the corridor to your.
No, I don't think it's from the corridor to your unit, it's from the corridor to the outside.
You think it's, Terry, you think it's for, entrance of the dwelling from the corridor or only the access to the corridor from outside?
I believe that it's, the entrance to the unit as well, off of the corridor, if that's an accessible path. Right?
that's coming from is not accessibility, that's coming from access to the floor areas. Okay, so that's a different animal.
Access to floor area, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're going to access the floor area, it does bump it up from 800 to 850, right?
Okay.
So it tells you that it's, access from a suite shall provide an opening, so a suite would be a dwelling unit, right?
Yeah.
So access from a dwelling, from an individual unit has been bumped up from 800 to 850.
So access from the corridor to your apartment.
For the apartment to the.
Well, I'm looking at 3822 entrances, and it says except for service entrances and entrances to suites described in 3823. So it may not be suites off of a hallway, off of a corridor.
Okay.
The door into your unit is through, that's not an exit, you're still inside.
If
Okay.
you go to the next slide here, the 3/8 one talks about accessibility.
Can you change the slide, please?
The 3/8,
Where do you want to be?
Next slide.
Okay.
the 3/8,
Yeah, 3/8/2.
yeah, so that's your barrier free.
So that would be going into a suite. Your sill should be easy to go. No, not a barrier, right?
So it depends what 3/8 is there on that door. Everything under 3/8 would be applicable under barrier free path of travel to the suite. And
Okay.
not every suite has to be barrier free.
Just barrier free, so it's have to be
Right.
barrier free. Yeah. So it's anything
One
public,
and 20 or whatever.
Okay.
so anything the public can access.
Just pretend we didn't see that.
But there's
So,
only,
Less impact than we thought, right? Less impact than we thought.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, less impact than we
It's
thought.
probably, I mean, that I'm sure is just the beginning, it'll be houses after that, right?
And tell me, the one you sent me about the height of the hardware on the door, is it section 3 again, or?
So they've changed the height. for door hardware. I just gotta find it. Thought it was in part 9, actually. Let me,
Minute, I didn't.
yeah, I'll look for it here and give me a sec.
Looks like, you know, the handle, the hardware on a door before had to be over 900 millimeter. Now it has to be between 900 and 1200.
The door release hardware,
Yeah.
here you look at 9967.
Is that 9967 you're talking?
There it is there, 9967.
That's for panic bar or?
It's latching mechanism locking.
This is door release hardware on doors and a means of egress in part 9. Shall be installed 900 millimeters to 1100 millimeters above the finished floor.
So that's every door going out of the building in a residence.
If that door is deemed to be a means of egress, yes.
Okay. So the handle should be between 900 and 1200. That's a change. Before it had
900 and 1100.
to be 1100, before it had to be
It's
over
not
900.
more than 1200. Right? So
that's a change. But what would we go higher? That's 36. Yeah. Start to be high. And again, it's not, for me, when I saw it, are we talking about the deadlock, the handle?
Door release hardware is paddles.
Door release would be the handle?
No, paddles, the paddles.
Push bar. Okay, push bars.
Push bar or paddle, but not knobs.
Okay, that's different. The push bar or the paddle.
I think there's some interpretation there that could potentially be a
'Cause
challenge.
I thought it was the handle, you know, the knob and the deadlock.
Door release hardware.
Yeah.
Required only when you get a certain amount.
Okay. Good discussion this afternoon. So that's it for the presentation. Any question? Sorry, I'm not as good as Al, but Al was not available. He's the code guy. So, yeah. It's something to say, just blame it on Al. I'm just the messenger. Again, thank you, Sherwin-Williams. Thank you, GSA, Dan Darcy and Associates, and Westwood. Thank you, guys.